tubaniza nnyo banaffe ku programu yaffe ya Gospel Truth ate era amazima g'enjiri ng'era eno etukizibwako bannaffe ba partners n'emikwano gya Andromac Ministries ne Caris Bible College Uganda. Amanya n'eddoboozi nze David Male era nga sizenzekka wabula ndi ne muganda wange ono Isaac Senfuka. Isaac,
ndi musanyufu nnyo ddala nange okubanga n'olunaku lwaleero tukomyewo ku programu yaffe eno ekitundu ekyokusatu eky'endowooza ey'ekyavu.
Endowooza y'ekyavu.
Twebaza Katonda olw'essomo
ekyo nno tugina leero tukomyewo n'ekitundu ekyokusatu era nzikiriza nti mugenda kuba nnyo omukisa era nga tulimu ne muganda waffe wano abeera ku byuma ng'era ye Aneka Kauma Shalom. Nzikiriza nti naye aweerereza mu kapasite eyo okubanga atuteeka ku mpewo eno. Naye nga omanyi we twagwerera mugundi mu paati 2 yali eggwa naye ng'olabanga eri mu kuyita part 3.
Yes.
Nga tetusobola kugimalira wali twagimalira kubanga twali tutandise twagenda okulaba ng'ekigambo kino tutandise okukireeta mu ngeri nti kati kiri applicable
yango omuntu asobola alabira ddala engeri gy'okiteeka mu nkola.
Yes,
nolwekyo nzikiriza nti gwe wenna omuliriza nga gwe mulundi gwe ogusoose okubanga owulira programu eno. Kino kitundu kyakusatu naye tukugamba nti waliwo ekitundu ekisooka n'ekyokubiri. Nolwekyo kyandibadde kyamagezi nnyo ddala okulaba nga weefunira ebitundu ebyo ebisooka kubanga tubikuwa ate ku bwereere. Nolwekyo ennamba y'essimu ejja kuweebwa ng'oluvannyuma lwa programu eno obuuze otegere engeri gy'osobola okufuna amasomo
ate era osobola okubifunaku actually buli wezimala ku airing nga tuziteeka ku YouTube, so osobola okugenda ku YouTube yaffe ya AWM Caris Uganda YouTube page n'osobola okubanga osobola okuzaccessinga anytime wonna weoyagalira ate ng'okusoba n'okuzisharinga ne banno n'abantu b'omanyi nti oyagala bakulaakulane omwaka guno gwakulaakulana naye tutagenda wala nnyo era twagala tugenda mu kino ekyokusatu.
All right, so we did part 1, we did part 2, now we're here to do part 3. When we were ending part 1, I was talking about disciplines, right? And I was saying poor people that have the poverty mindset, the certain disciplines they lack. And these are things you want to work on as you go through this year to ensure that you don't lag behind when it comes to, disciplines. Because at the end of the day, it just reflects one thing, that you have the poverty mindset. One of the things I talked about is, somebody buys a new car and they think they're special because they're driving a name of the plate or whatever and everything, and they think everybody else ought to be disrespected, and they don't have to keep the law, they don't have to keep the traffic rules, they can do whatever they want. Police officer stops him, you don't stop because your vehicle is too big, your vehicle is unique. That is a poverty mindset. You think the vehicle empowers you to act a certain way. You see what I'm saying? Trying to say, you think the money now you have, so to speak, empowers you to be disrespectful and to act a certain way. The reason why you think that is because you still have a poverty mindset, even if you have a good vehicle, even if you have money in the bank. And that needs to change, because sooner or later, that mindset, you lose the vehicle, you lose the money in the bank. That mindset will cause you to become poor. And people that probably were once rich, and now it's history. We're talking about them. We're talking here in the studio even before we got started. I was talking to Isaac and David Mel. You have to do things this year that you've never done. But one of the things that we're talking about here, Isaac was saying, I need to buy this big can of needle. The big one. I think it's about 90,000 and everything. And I was like, you have to do it. Once in a while, you got to do these things. And I'll tell you one of the reasons for doing that is you need to shock yourself. You need to shock yourself out of poverty. Your poverty mindset has been on so long, so you use to katogo. Once in a while you shock yourself with cafe javas, and then you wake up, and so the poverty mindset gets disorganized. You see what I'm trying to say? You see, exactly. So I told Isaac, one of the things you can do is you buy that, but I told him, when you buy it, now this is a poverty mindset here now, when you buy it, don't put one kajiko in a big tampeko. In other words, you're drinking white, you're not drinking milk.
Tonywa color.
You're drinking white, you're not drinking milk. Some people have this poverty mindset. They have never drank milk in their life. They've been drinking white. You get the point? They're drinking white, they're not drinking milk. You need to drink it where it tastes like milk. Straight, no water.
Ate the director kyogedde waliwo abantu banja batandise business ne zifa. olwo abantu bangi abatandise business ne bazifa bali mu kusaba bali mu kusiiba Katonda abeeko kyakola naye nga ki balina restaurant be bafumba amataago bwe gatyo ag'okwongeramu amazzi kubanga bo balowooza we bajja okufuna ssente abalala ofumba ebinyeebwa n'obijjuza amazzi kubanga oyagala okukola amagoba kati bakasitoma badduka kati ate oli mu kusaba.
No, actually it's not magoba. What they do, they kugoba. Bakola amagoba nga bagoba.
Amagoba gokola ga kugoba.
You know, customers, bagoba, you know. And so, but the thing is this, it's a poverty mindset. That's what I'm saying.
No kugula ebintu ebitono. Sometimes actually saving up ogula in bulk than no gula obuntu obutono nti saving gulayo obutungulu bwa bisatu n'ennyanya za bitano gula ddala za week ogenda ku saving.
Absolutely. Wholesale. I'm going to get to a lot of these things as we go forward, ladies and gentlemen, but the truth is this, the same things we need to work on. Let me make this point about the poverty mindset. People that have a poverty mindset are wasters. They waste a lot. They waste a lot, especially what is not theirs.
Omuntu alina endowooza y'ekyavu mwonoonyi.
Especially what is not theirs. I mean, I heard a story of this guy. I know him very well. You know, he went to a hotel and he went to the counter.
Yagenda mu hoteeri.
And when he was at the counter where the reception where you pay and everything.
Webatuukira wano.
This guy, they gave him the prices of the hotel and he never liked them. I was like, man, this is very expensive. He wasn't happy. So, because it was too late, he had nowhere to go. He paid anyway, but he was very mad. He goes into the hotel room. He turns on the water. He goes in the living room, what you call sitting room here. He sits and the water runs non-stop. His mindset is saying, do you understand? Let me make you pay the price for charging me too high. But this guy's never forced him to pay. He could have gone elsewhere. But because he has a poverty mindset, he came in and is destroying the hotel because his thinking is making these people pay. In other words, he was stealing from the people because what he paid, he did not pay to waste water. He did not pay to destroy the place. You get the point? You know, people like that, they have a poverty mindset. Have you given, for instance, this happens a lot in the US, I don't know about Uganda, but the way in the US they build houses, they're a little different. You know, so we have people that you put in your house to rent and they will turn it into a trash can. You know what the reason they do that? Because they don't have a house. If you have a house, you know what it takes, you know, to maintain it, to keep it going, to, you know, they have a poverty mindset.
Ekyono tekiri mu America yokka nendoza kiri eri bapangisa kuba ne Uganda bwe kiri.
Okay, good. So this happens a lot, but the reason, that's why that person is a mupangisa. Because at the end of the day, the mindset will not even come out of there. They are spoilers. They are wasters. And I'm not saying every mupangisa. I hope I'm making sense here. You know, some of them. But the thing is people that do those kind of things.
Naye director wayogedde nti waliwo omuntu ng'apangisa ennyumba naye ate ng'endowooza ze si za kipangisa.
Absolutely.
Wabaawo omuntu ng'alina ennyumba ye naye ng'endowooza za kipangisa.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's a poverty mindset.
Yes.
So the other person that is renting doesn't have a poverty mindset. Like I said, there's a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary.
Okubanga tulina sente kyakaseera buseera.
Temporary. Like today you don't, but tomorrow it comes in. You're broke. But poor could be eternal, could be forever, could be permanent.
Obwavu busobola okubeererawo ddala.
Exactly. And so, like I said again, there are some people that are rich, poor people. They are rich, but they're poor.
Nga mugagga omwavu.
Then you find another person that is broke, but is rich. You get my point?
Yes.
So some people are renting, but they're not renters. The mindset is really the bottom line of what I'm talking about. If you have a wrong mindset, is exactly what you are. A poor person will think poor, will do all these funny things.
Osanga abawala bano abayamba ku mirimu bayita ba maid. Osanga omuwala nga maid ewaka naye nga mazima ddala akwata sukaali n'amuteeka mu mazzi gajje mu firiji. Nayo noona nga ye mwonoonyi bwonoonyi. Ebizigo buli kimu kyonna akyonoona naye ng'enkya ayagala nayo okubeera mukyala w'omuntu. Ate n'osanga oli nga maid naye nga enkola gy'akolamu ebintu ye teyerabanga maid, yerabanga mukyala w'omuntu. Kati bano ababiri banjawulo.
Absolutely. Even if they have the same name, maid, they're different. What's different? The mindset. And when you change your mindset will change your actions. That's why you can tell a poor person by their actions. You can tell a person with the poverty mindset with their actions, because if you don't have a poverty mindset, it will change your actions. I give an example of people that drive. They go ahead of other people. In the traffic jam. How? Yes.
Bewaganya oli n'ayita w'atalina kuyita. Abalala bali mu layini bagenda mpola ye n'agamba nedda.
They try to squeeze in, they cause more traffic. And why is that? The reason is, just because you're driving a vehicle doesn't mean you're driving one. Some people are sitting in a vehicle, but they're driving a bicycle. They're driving, not riding. They're driving a what? Because the mindset kagali
ngoli mulaba ali mu motoka
sina kagali kigali
ngaso kagali obanga asindika kigali ngali mu kusindika kigali nenga go mulaba ali.
Absolutely. And this has to change, because at the end of the day it's a poverty mindset, David, right? And then you find another guy, he is riding his motorcycle, but I'm telling you, he's driving a fielder. His mindset.
Bane kanjogere ku kino. Abavuzi ba piki. Mutu yambe. Mutekenga mu mafuta agawera. Mulekera okuvunika piki.
It's a poverty mindset.
Zeno nali manyi nti oba nkola mpya nti oba piki zabo nze okusoka nali manyi basawula. Nagamba nebane aba piki basawulira basawula
poverty mindset.
Kubanga bamanyidde banywa biri mu piki.
I mean, the thing is this, and absolutely, guys, motorcycle. I mean, let me tell you one thing. If I sit on that motorcycle and you tell me to get off so you can kuunzika, I just keep going. I don't stop. Listen to me. I remember one time I went with a guy and we went to a pump, and I think filling the pump, was filling the gas tank for the motorcycle was, I think, about 50,000 or 60,000. I don't know. And so I asked the person, how much you usually put in? I think the person told me they put in, I think, 5K, 10K. And I'm like, the person, now listen to me, our lovely listener, the people that made the tank, they did not make it to have a capacity of 10K. Hello? Or 5K, or 2K. Right? And the Kalimi, your dial that shows you how much fuel you have, it has E and F.
Eraga ewajjudde ne watali.
And so the thing is this, it's a poverty mindset. You can say all you want. Because when you put in 50K in that motorcycle and you ride it, by the way, you save actually more in the long run than in and out. Yeah. But you put in that money and you're able to go places. Longer distance. Some people don't like this inconvenience. You're in traffic and you're kicking it. You know there's no fuel, but you're kicking, looking like as if you're working. But deep inside you know you put in 2K. The taxi drivers, every time, like every journey, almost the guys stopping to put in 5K, 7K. This is a poverty mindset. We need to give up these kind of things. The gas tank does not swallow the gas. It will stay in there. And tomorrow, you get the point.
Yeah.
These people buy these big vehicles, Mercedes Benz, and you put in 10K. What kind of nonsense is this? 10K. You pull over to a gas pump, you're driving a TX, you're driving these vehicles, and you put in 10K. If I'm a pump person, I'll tell you to go to the next one.
Naye era nze ndowooza nti ekyawandiikibwa kituukirire nti bali balabira ku bibala byabwe. Olumu waliwo levo yo gitegeera otya. Olumu no tubuuka tukyamuka. Manyi waliwo kye bayita okukyamuka. Ne nfuna wano ssente ne nziguyira mangu speed nengenda ne ngula TX.
Kubanga gundi agivuga.
Naye ate w'ogula TX n'ogenda ku mafuta neni oluvannyuma n'osanga levo yo nti ya mutwalo awo w'otegerera nti wayina kugula wish. Maye njagala nnyo wiki kubanga waliwo ansanyusa nnyo ate togamba nti yagwera nnyo nti ntera okuyita ku bano bawiishi.
Say it, it's me.
Director yalina okwogera n'agamba nti atera nnyo okuyita ku bantu abawiishinga. Ate namubuuzanga bebaani kanti be bavuga zino emmotoka za wiishi.
But we have these people that have constant poverty mindset. I remember another story. I was talking to a dear friend of mine. It was another country, out of the country here, out of Uganda, and it was, he had a funny work ethic. And I told him, look, you could be a Ugandan in Turkey, but I tell you one thing: if you have a good attitude, if you have a different mindset, you can become a boss in Turkey. I spoke to him. I said, number one, learn the language. Number two, don't work like the Ugandans in Turkey. Give your best, give your all. This guy, within 6 months, he was the head of all the Ugandans in the factory.
Wow.
He was telling them what to do. Now, the Ugandans, because they thought he's a Ugandan, they expected him to let them off the hook. Lazy, come late. This guy never gave him a chance for that. He held them more accountable than the Turkish men. And at the end of the day, some of them were not happy. But the truth is, these guys were wasters. They had a poverty mindset. And he had an opportunity to fire and hire. Can you imagine? This guy that went in the bad mindset with the poverty mindset, he was totally transformed. When you go abroad, you go to Turkey, you go send it to Ziwera. No, mindset. I'm telling you, we can both be maids, and I'm telling you, I'll make more than you. It's a mindset. Even the bosses see. They know a good maid, they know a joke maid, they know. But the thing is, it's a poverty mindset. It's one of the reasons our people are still struggling. One of the reasons why people are still not making a difference and they're not increasing financially. A lot of things. We talked about people never putting a full tank. Shock yourself this year, ladies and gentlemen. Shock yourself. Go with your motorcycle, put in 60. You go with your vehicle, whatever it is, put in 250.
Ingira supermarket eyo ovuga obugaali obugaali we surprising omuga leero sigenda kugula bintu ku street si lwakuba nti nombi naye kanyingireko waakiri nange mwezi guno kanyingireko mu supermarket eyo nvuge ku kagaali ako nange nguleko ku nnyanya zenze mu firiji weekubise ku masannyalaze
kyakireme ya sukali gulako bbiri leero
weekubise ku masannyalaze
ogule enough and an extra
omanye ebiseera tugamba nti kudiibuuda ne kukyusa ndowooza.
It's a change of mindset. Wow. Because here's one thing, just because you have more doesn't mean you waste. But if you have more and you waste, you still have a poverty mindset. Having more doesn't mean you waste. Right? Doesn't mean you waste.
Yeah.
Just because you don't go to Ruzi to get water doesn't mean you sumula tap or kanegayika. Non-stop, right? Because you have it now. No, if you do that, you have a poverty mindset. You better off tell the water people, come take your tap and go back to the well and walk your way back out of a poverty mindset. You see what I'm saying?
Yakagulako kuwo mwezi.
Gulako kuwo mwezi.
So, another thing that I like to say here in the office a lot, I'm also helping my people here not to have a poverty mindset. I said, you cannot be around me and you're going to have this kind of mindset. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it and I'm not catching it. If you're not going to catch a prosperity sickness that I have, I'm not catching your sickness of poverty mindset. I'm not catching it. I separate. I distance myself from you. You see what I'm trying to say? I don't want to catch that. No. But the thing is this, so I like to make this joke, but it's true. It's a poverty mindset. You meet a person and say, hey, can you call this person? MTN Airtel. MTN Airtel. MTN Airtel. Call the number. I don't care. If it's MTN Airtel, I don't have airtime. Why? Put on airtime. Your phone has to be able to call both MTN and Airtel, even if it's MTN.
Ate waliwo n'ebintu amakampuni director gebikoze. Director waliwo amakampuni ebintu bye gakoze nga biyambye nnyo okukuumira abantu mu ndowooza ey'ekyavu. Ebintu bya minutes oli oluteekako bw'ati akikukiku ekirala okusanga essimu etaliiko nti banja okusanga essimu etaliiko banja bannange ebbanja buli wogira oti okuteekako omuntu toteekako lwaki bagenda zisala.
It's a poverty mindset. Guys, this year we need to come out of this nonsense. We need to be set free from this.
Kirungi nnyo nti essomo lino litandise lize mu kaseera ng'omwaka gutandika.
Let me say this also. If someone calls you, some people have never said bye on the phone. They're looking at the minutes, 49, 50, and they speak rapid for the next seconds. Before it clocks 59, they don't even tell you bye, gone. You have to let it cross over to 1 minute and end the call very well. Bye, we'll talk later. Some of you don't know the word bye because you're watching your minute. Minutes. Oh my goodness. Listen. This year, surprise yourself. Say goodbye to somebody on the phone without you rushing. Have a conversation without thinking about minutes. Let me say this also, Isaac. This thing, giving missed calls. How do you call it here? Giving missed calls.
Yeah, that's like
missed calls. Someone
flashing,
calls,
like
flashing. I'm flashing.
Man, that stuff is a poverty mindset. You need to come out of the things, man. You have money to flash, but you don't have money to call. What kind of nonsense is this? Spend it and call the person. It's wrong. We need to come out of this behavior, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the way to live life.
Ate no tweflashinga buli kimu ne mukulya tweflashinga director. Ne mukulya tweflashinga. Oli n'agendera ddala mu restaurant. Nga senta zirina eziri ekitegeerekeka ne yeflashinga. Ne yeflashinga. Anti mwina chapati. Ali mu 5 star. Oginze mu hoteli kale tegeerekeka. Oyina chapati. Omwaka guno tuyina ninawe nagendako ne director. Ninawe nagendako ne director okulya. Naye ekintu kyo kyansanyusa nnyo nti era director kyagambye waliwo ebintu ebikyusa endowooza yo. Bwe twagenda okulya ekyamazima kino nkyogera nti nze yambuza tukwata menu tugira aze ne mugaa kyolya kyengenda okulya. Gwe namugamba kyolya kyendya. Era yo yakola order n'agamba ddabo ne baleeta naye omutima yali kyanjira nagamba abantu abakyusizza endowooza zaabwe muleva ate ekituufu. Kubanga kirungi nnyo bino ebintu tuba tubyogera muyinza okugamba nti ffe si masomo gaffe naffe masomo gaffe gasooka ku ffe nolwekyo saagala oddeeyo ogambe nti bagamba ggwe nedda naffe kennyini.
Absolutely.
Kwegamba as much as bw'oba osomye ku bino ebya financial principles to live within your means naye ate abantu ate bo bakikoze nnyo excessively ate oli natambulira ddala mu bulamu bw'ekyavu. Once in a while we're surprising twalako omuntu out ate oba omuntu te out plan it naye ate oba omuntu te out kugamba muleka asabe kyayagala omanyi waliwo the first thing omuntu ayinza okukola ng'afunye gundi menu kwe kutunula ku kamagini kanene akayina emiwendo naye nga kyayagala okulya mu mutima kiikino.
You need to buy things without looking at the price. You see, the Italian restaurants, I like them a lot. I think in the US, some of them, I went to this restaurant with my wife, and we got in there, and man, this thing had no prices. So I say, well, no problem. So we sat in there, and the bill came. The bill was very heavy. But the thing is you have to surprise yourself. Even me, as you go to certain levels, you keep surprising yourself. That day, we went to this one that had no price. You just eat, and then they surprise you with if you don't have it, go get and go use ebintu.
Kugamba si kibi okukola homework awo mu restaurant ezima Isaac. Oba ng'oneeteka tekutwala omuntu omu. Mulimu ebifo byonna okugendamu ng'ogamba nti okay bwe mba genda mu kifo kino kangendeyoko ne ssente bweziti nti spending genda okukola egenda kuba yagundi bweti oba okitegeera oleme kubeera shocked
nga genda ng'olina mwetegefu okutiipinga.
Okay, we'll get to that shortly. But let me say this, again, the E, I like to say this, the E on your motorcycle, on your vehicle, doesn't mean ejude. E doesn't mean ejude. When you see E,
the fuel gauge,
right? It doesn't mean chi. It doesn't mean extra. It means empty. It means what? Empty. So this thing that we do, some people are doing, motorcycle people, taxi people, and people driving their wishes, and all these things. We need to end these kind of things. We need to get to a place. Have you ever put a half tank in your car? Start from them. I'm not saying put a full tank. But if you've always been a quarter tank in is what you put in, stretch yourself a little bit. Put in a half tank. It helps your mindset. You're changing the way you think, ladies and gentlemen. It's a really critical thing that has to be done.
Bantu bangi director basula mu bifo bye bataagala. Naye nga basaba nnyo Katonda bakyusize embeera. Naye nga ate n'amayumba ge baagala osulamu bamanyi gye gali. Naye nga ne waaba anoonya ennyumba tasobola kugenda gy'ayagala.
Another point I want to make about poor people or poverty mindset, they spend more than they have or they can afford.
Basaasaanya okusukkuluma ekyo kye basobola.
It's not wise. What we're saying here, we're not saying just go spend recklessly, live recklessly, and just... No, we're not saying that. We are saying you need to begin to shock yourself and do certain things that will slowly begin to help your mindset and come out of a mindset of a poverty mindset. But this is not to say, excuse me, that go ahead and just... spend more than you have. You see, one thing I always say, I know a lady that man just loves to be a classy girl. I mean, she will try to live like an American in Uganda. She will. I'm telling you, it's embarrassing. These people do this kind of things, but at the end of the day, it's a poverty mindset. They're trying to live beyond their means. One thing I don't say, I usually say, don't live your life, don't live my life. Don't know where people get money from. They don't know all this. Just try to live your life, but just work on the area of not having a poverty mindset. You can live within your means, yet not have a poverty mindset.
Ekyo kikulu nnyo okukiwulira nti osobola okutambulira mu ekyo ky'oli naye ate nga tolina ndowooza ya kyavu. Kubanga basinga oyinza owulira ebigambo bino nga tubyogera. Nogamba kituufu bagambye tugende kati kagende mu woteeri undye emmere ya $5 kyokka olina 5. Olina 5.
Yeah. So let me talk
about n'ennyumba ekutunuulidde n'obwetaavu biki n'5 gy'otunuulidde wiiki nnamba.
Yeah. Proverbs 21:20 says there is a treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise. But the foolish man spends it all. The foolish man will spend it all. It's foolish to spend it all. It's foolish to live beyond your means. I remember another example. I like to give illustrations here a lot. Another example I'm thinking about, I had a story of a guy, took his girlfriend out to eat and said, give her French fries, how'd you call it? Chips. Give her chips, chicken, give her everything she wants. Zebampe soda. And the guy sits there and he wants to eat. He's hungry. But he asked for soda. And she asked him, why are you not eating? Because, I am doing drinks only. I'm fasting. It's January. I'm fasting, only water. You know what I'm trying to say? Why are you not eating? I'm watching my weight. No, you're watching your height. Stop lying. The thing is this, at the end of the day, this guy had a poverty mindset. He went to spend in a place where he himself could not afford to eat.
Agenze mu kifo eky'ebbeeyi sente z'alina kwatasobola kugulirako oyo gwazze naye ate naye n'alyako.
It's awkward for her to be eating and you're just looking and deep inside you're like, emponye. Isaac, you know what I'm saying?
Ekyo nkimanyi ebyennyanja twabiryangako mitwe. Omanyi kye bayita okulyako ekyennyanja omutwe anti otwala omuntu okulya kati abawala abo bali ekyennyanja omuwala ezo enjala ze bateekako ezo ze bambala asokola ati ekyennyanja naye ng'akisokolera mu mutima n'akirya ati aleka mutwe kati omutwe omanyi kyaga mwattuza ate mwattugwe nze mwasobera nze ekyennyanja kyonna akiryako mutwe olimba alidde ekyawansi naye olaba bagenda kitwala leeta nze mwattu ekyennyanja akyagalako mutwe. Neragira kyayogerako nkitegeera bulungi.
Isaac ebintu bino obijjawa.
Tugenda turenewing mpola.
You've been renewing slowly.
Mpola.
You see, this guy, he was trying to live a life he could not afford. His mindset was wrong and it was embarrassing. He could not afford 2 plates. Yet he went out to eat. Let me help you. If you cannot afford 2 plates, don't go out to eat. Stay home. Just go use the small money you have, buy something, cook at home and eat at home. It's embarrassing for you to go. It's a poverty. I'm telling you, these things are not accepted, but people think it's okay. Another one is here. You take the girl out, your girlfriend, your fiancé, you're courting, you're dating and all these things, and you take her out to eat. I'm talking about the boys now. And then you order extravagant, everything, and then at the very time to pay, my wallet. I can't find my wallet. The first thing you enter in a restaurant, taking somebody out is to make sure you have your wallet.
That's right.
What kind of nonsense is this? No, they have they complain. Oh, my wallet. Oh, somebody stole. Hey, manager.
And you start making calls,
Where's my wallet? And then no, but Isaac, okay. There's no money on the phone. You can't even call Isaac. Girlfriend. No, you don't have airtime. A guy, you're beeping a girl.
Wow.
What kind of nonsense is this?
Never chabikola ebintu ebyo.
No.
Omulenzi no beepinga.
No. Devi, you need to tell us. Do you do this kind of thing?
I don't know. Bikyakolebwa bakyabikolera ddala. Awo nze mukama mulungi awo navaawo naye ng'ebintu bakyabikolera ddala. Omanyi w'ova oyinza okulowooza abaana abalala bavudde bakyabikolera ddala ky'ova olaba essomo lino weeriri.
Let me talk about another thing here that needs to go is a poverty mindset that needs to really change in our nation, in our lives, in our people here that I have seen and I think is wrong. Charging people to different rates. You have a rate for a guy that sounds Western. You have a rate for a guy that sounds Northern. You have a rate for a person that has a white skin and black skin, sounds American. You see his suit, you look at his shoes, and you come up with a price.
Abantu nga oyina by'otunda naye nga oyina ebbeeyi ez'enjawulo. Eri omuntu omuzungu, eri omuddugavu, eri ayambadde essuuti, eri ayambadde nniigiina.
It's a poverty mindset. You're trying to steal.
Olina endowooza ey'ekyavu.
Absolutely. It's a poverty mindset. You're discriminating based on prices. Why are you doing that? If your price is your price, it should not be changing if it's a man, a woman, short, tall, from where. It should not be changing, ladies and gentlemen. When you're taking airplane flight, they don't ask you your sex and say, oh, you're a girl, you pay more. It's a poverty mindset. You need to get rid of this kind of stuff where you pay big money. Nobody, they don't say, are you American? Are you Ugandan? Are you paid? Then they charge you different prices.
Ate kambabulira abakola ebintu ebyo mwegendereze kubanga olwaleero osobola twegendereze nnyo abantu gamba baforeigners abajja muno abamu baluddemu nga bamanyi olulimi oba okitegeera oyinza okula nze waliwo omuntu omu sijja mwogera nnyo gwe baŋŋamba yali musumba webagenda omanyi bino byofuna abazungu ne bajja mu kanisa yo ne basponsoring obuweereza bwo kumbe ono yali muzungu abaddeko muno nga n'oluganda alumanyi batuuka wali n'amugamba ku gundi nga bali mu restaurant n'agamba weyita nti ono mukyajinga essente ono tulina okumulyamuuko ku ssente ono muwe bbiri mukyajingemuuko ekiwerako omanyi omuzungu we yamugamba ti ekyo singa kiwadde oyagala wandiŋŋambye mu luganda omusajja yaswala paka nakati yenkolagana yakola ki yafa lwaki nti kukyajinga abantu kusinziira ku kala yaabwe.
It's very wrong.
Wano tulina omuntu omuzungu amanyi oluganda era n'omugwako.
He's a good brother.
Wano kwanduwo maka tosangangawo omuzungu n'omugeya nkwegayiridde wenaayo ali eyo togeyanga omuzungu gosanza nokwanduwo maka ministry.
Absolutely.
Ajja kusurprisinga.
Yeah, but it's wrong. It's very wrong. And people need to understand it's not first of all it's ungodly. But number two, it's going to keep you in a poverty mindset. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people go back and they compare and they're like, this guy cheated me. And they don't come back. Yeah. They don't come back. For me, if I'm working with you and I realize this is the way you work, sooner or later we are ending it. We're now continuing together. So let me say this another thing about a poverty mindset. You negotiate for everything. That's a poverty mindset. Everything. You go to a restaurant and they tell you the price. You go to Jikoni and it says 50,000 or 30,000 and you call the manager. You negotiate for everything. This poverty mindset, take it back over where you came from. You go to Cafe Jevas, the price is there. These people are not looking at your age or your height or your sex or your, to skin give color. You a price. They're straight up. No matter who you are, this is what you pay. But then you negotiate. It's wrong. It's wrong. But this one thing, if you find a restaurant that has no price, you can negotiate. Yeah. Anything that has no price tag, it's open for what? Negotiation.
Ekintu kyonna kyonna ky'osanga tekiriiko miwendo giwandiikiddwako ekyo lamuza.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we say these things. you go to buy a phone and the phone is 500,000. The guy tells you, looks at you and says 800. That's so wrong. That's a poverty mindset. That's cheating. And people that cheat have a poverty
mindset.
People that cheat have a what?
Poverty
mindset.
That's why they cheat. Because a person that doesn't have a poverty mindset knows how to increase. You increase in a godly way. But people have a poverty mindset, they cut corners.
Yeah.
The Bible says, he that hastens to be rich has an evil eye.
Yeah.
An evil eye is talking about doing the wrong thing, in a sense, to try to increase. You cheat, you lie. You mess with the minzano.
Bakwata minzani.
They mess with this thing, and that's a poverty mindset. And I'm telling you, you're only going to attract this kind of people that are average.
Yeah. Andaze ekintu kino director era kyo kyogereko nti eggwanga lino bavulwanye nnyo enguzi. Balwanye nnyo, bakoze ebintu bingi nnyo okujjawo enguzi. Naye ate bw'oyogedde director ndaba nti omuntu ali enguzi
is a poverty mindset. Absolutely. I was going to get to that as well. Corruption comes down to one thing. It's a poverty mindset. If you're corrupt, you have a poverty mindset.
Amen.
See, increase in the kingdom of God doesn't come through corruption. Increase in the kingdom of God and prospering and becoming rich doesn't come through cutting corners and doing the ungodly and the foolish things people do. You have a poverty mindset, and that's why you've been corrupt and corrupt and corrupt and corrupt. If corruption could make you wealthy, why didn't you stop?
Yeah.
We have a lot of rich corrupt people.
Yes.
We have a lot of rich poor people. And the Bible makes it very clear that the wealth of the unjust is laid up for who? For the righteous. You collect it. It will come into our hands. You collect it. You leave it to your kids, and your kids will get born again, and they'll give it to the church.
To find its way.
Some one or the other, I'll be spending part of what you're stealing. It's gonna end up in the hands of the just. So at the end of the day, why people have a poverty mindset? Let me say this. Let me talk about migration. Kuba cheyo. Did you know 90% of Nkuba cheyo is a poverty mindset? Somebody's like, what? I've been praying for visa. Stop. Most of the people that are doing this, they have a poverty mindset. One of the reasons I say that is because there is no guarantee that you go to America, you make it. It's not there. There's no guarantee that you go to Dubai or Europe, you make it. There's no guarantee. I remember one person told me, you're going to Africa? Rich? Why? Man, you're going to die. I was like, no, you can die in America too. Death is not just in Africa. Death is in America too. So some people, and so what they do, they'll sell everything they have. They'll sell their houses, their land, and do everything they possibly can. And they take a trip, lie, come up with funny things, and end up in America. And when they end up there, one thing that did not change is the mindset. There's a saying back in the day, they said, Ojo muntu muki mukyalo.
Okujja omuntu mu kyalo kyangu naye okumugyamu ekyalo.
That's a very true statement, even going to America. People take their poverty mindset, their kyalo, into the US, and they go into a community that has a poverty mindset, right? And that community continues, and the person continues with their kyalo.
Yes.
These things have to change, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot prosper if you don't change your mindset. Poverty mindset is a problem.
N'abatalinnya nnyonyi naye waliwo omuntu nga adduka ekyalo ajja e Kampala naye atera ne yeesanga ng'asigadde mu mbeera y'emu. Aye ne weesanga omuntu ali mu kyalo ng'ate ye endowooza ye
we have a lot of those. We have a lot of those. I have an uncle of mine. He's in the village, deep. But he's thinking he's out of this world.
Amen.
Even the way he built, you can tell. Even the way he lives his life, you can tell. He doesn't have a poverty mindset. Let me say this. If you treat waiters and waitresses bad, you have a poverty mindset. Have you seen these guys? They're spending $5,000.
Yeah.
You talk to someone's daughter like as if you're talking to your dog. What kind of foolishness is this? It's an insult. Never again. You know why you talk like that with your $5,000? because you have a poverty mindset.
gwe 15 olowooza osobola okukwata buli w'oyagala wonna.
You know, you talk to people anyhow. You touch the girl. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Wait a jangu.
Then you whistle. You clap your hands. You snap your finger. No way. Even if you had 100K is what you're paying for your dinner. Listen, you cannot. Your little money cannot buy that person. You're crazy. You know why you do that? Even if you're paying 100,000, not 5K. Even if you're paying 50,000 for the plate. You know why you do that? Because you have a stinking poverty mindset.
Ate nekinewunyisa teri asasula nnyingi ate asobola kukola ebyo kyekyewunyisa.
Exactly, because usually the mindset is changed. You know,
bannange twogere ne ku kino abalina abakozi ewaka bannange mubongeze ku misaala. Omanyi ssente z'abakozi ezimu zikwasa ennaku n'okwogera ku mpewo kuno.
Nze nali mmanyi nti gavumenti yali teyisanga misaala gya nti nno okugereka emisaala. Nali mmanyi yagereka gy'abakozi b'awaka nti yagereka 2 3 nti tebasukka 5. Nze nali manyi baagereka nkitegeera juzi nti tebaagereka abantu be basalawo bawa abakozi ssente ezo.
Sente zimu zikwasa n'ensonyi okwogera ku gundi kubanga omwana oyo aliwo full time ewaka
akutte bulamu bunno
akola emirimu gyonna buli kimu naye lugana n'omu emitwalo eno.
No, David, here's the answer. And again, we're talking about this. The reason why people do those kind of things is because they have a poverty mindset.
Yeah.
They get a maid, they cannot afford a maid. You have a poverty mindset. Let the woman go.
Yeah.
You know, you're literally hurting another person's life. You're just using them. You're just abusing them. It's a poverty mindset. And I talk about that as well. You know, you pay cheap.
Yeah.
Let's talk about waiters. When last did you ever tip? Do you even know how to spell the word tip? When did you ever tip a waiter? Someone gives you the best service, kind. You're loud, you're rude, you're this, and they're still calm and they're still really mellow and they're trying to work with you and serve you. If you've never tipped this year, believe God to enter into the world of tipping. How do you say tipping in Uganda?
Waliwo ebigamba nti kati kalina kuba kasiimo naye ate ekigambo kutiipinga. Waliwo ebigambo nga wano y'omuntu bakifuna bulala. Kutiipinga olaba emmotoka zino eziyiwa kye bayita okutiipinga. Kati tebakugamba nti abantu bayiwe buyiyi. Omuntu muwa akasiimo kuba wenyenza okulowooza nti kuyiwa buyiyi.
Absolutely.
Buli kaseera tosiimako gwe buli woogenda okomekereza kino kibi enemmere yammwe y'omunnyo ye kino.
And one of the reasons they do that, of course, is because they don't want to pay. They're coming up with every reason, every excuse not to pay, but eat. You know, if the food is bad, why did you eat it 3/4? Did you find out 3/4? Honestly, we all mature people here, but you find out the food that's not good at just 1 fork or 2 forks, right? You know this thing is no good.
Yeah.
But you kalakata the food all the way 3/4, and then you're like, it's in nonji. You stand up and you act like as if, no, come on, man. That's not right. The reason you're doing that is because you're trying to run away from paying. You have a poverty mindset. You never tip nobody. Now let me talk about the waiters as well. Waiters, it's a poverty mindset for you to serve for a tip.
Yeah.
Ng'oweereza ofuna akasiimo.
It's wrong. First of all, you have a salary. Casimo is out of a person's free will. If they don't give you, have the same attitude like they gave you. Don't be looking for me because this I want to serve this guy because he gives tip. That's wrong.
Ayambadde suuti gw'ogendako kuba omanyi.
Yeah, it's a poverty mindset. I'm here to help you again. Let me say this also. A lot of people, they have the mindset is so crazy that poverty mindset that they will drop a glass of 3,000 shillings to pick 1,000.
Oyogedde wa boda yali ansudde mu mmotoka yali atukulembedde yasuula 1,000 kyokka nvuga akulembedde yasuula 1,000 omusajja yasiba boda wakati mu kkubo nali ntuuse namuga sikusasula ate ngenze genda ompaabire yasiba boda wakati olw'okuba tolabye sente namuga kaliwulira obulamu bwawe bw'oteeka mu 1,000.
Let me say this also, and this one is a very strong one. If you pick money that you did not drop, you have a poverty mindset. Write it down. Write it down. If you pick money that you did not drop,
bw'olonda sente z'otaasodde
you have a poverty mindset.
ate ddala nga n'azisudde omulebe nti wuuli agenda
You know,
n'omulala nagalindako sirika muleka asoka agende
it's wrong. It's ungodly.
kwamba kiyita mukisa.
No. It's not a mukisa. Mukisa, God does not take from others to give to you. You know, that's take. No. That's not mukisa. You know, you're saying that because you have a poverty. Here's one thing I do. I don't pick money that does not belong to me. I don't take phone that does not belong to me. I don't take nothing. And you know why? Because manje bazitunda. Number one. Number two, I know what it takes. This person is going to come back looking for the money. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, people work for you. Oh, but Rich, how about if he was in the desert and you find 1 billion Ugandan shillings? What would you do? Unziitako. Sizange. Someone dropped their money. He's going to come looking for it.
Yeah.
Don't put in your pocket. Don't put in your pocket what you didn't drop. The reason why you do that is because you have a poverty
endowooza
mindset.
y'ekyava eyo yeteesa ne sukaali. olaba sukaali w'omuwuzi w'hoteeri abantu bateekera ddala musajja ayina ayambadde kooti n'ateeka obusukaali n'obujaani mu kooti.
Isaac, you know these things.
abasajja
kajatambulira eyo
waliyo abantu nga mu maka gaabwe balinayo amasowaani agaliko kafe javas
kyekyo
n'ogamba yatuukayo
obusabbuuni bwa woteeri
ebeera branded nga tefuluma bisenge bya kafe javas naye gwe wagifuna otya watuukayo ne kooti ye ennene olwalaba nga agenze munda.
Again, that's a poverty mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, these things needs to stop. Cheating others indicates you have a poverty mindset. You know, living rich yet you are broke. You don't have.
tolina naye weeyita kyotali.
You know, you have a poverty mindset. You need to stop those kind of things, ladies and gentlemen. Taking from the rich, giving to the poor. That's a very common thing that governments do and people do. It's simusango. It's not a fault that I'm blessed. It's not a fault that I'm rich. It's wrong for you to take from me. I told you my work ethic. Work harder than an average person. And God blesses me, and then you take from me to give to a poor person. You know, I had a person say something like this. It was really powerful. One of the best statements I've ever heard. Because in the US, the government was trying to do wealth distribution, taxing the rich people 10 times and a lot more than everybody else. But first of all, poor people don't create jobs. They don't.
Yeah.
Poor people don't build the economy. They take from the economy.
Yes.
Poor people don't give. They take. So when you begin to tax the rich people, you're really bringing them to a level of a poor person to destroy the nation. Right? And so one of the things that always has happened, you know, they do this kind of things because they're trying to say, oh, we're trying to make it equal, everybody to be. There's nothing like that. If you took all the money in the world, okay, and gave it, let me not say all the world. Let me make it a very easy example to understand. Let's say if you took 100 million Ugandan shillings and gave it to a person that has a poverty mindset, or a poor man, or poor person, take it from me, rich, and give it to a poor person. Take it from a rich person, a blessed person, you know, that knows money, and give it to a poor person. Before the end of the year, or in a year and a half, that money will be back into the pocket of rich. He'll find a way to get it back. Because rich is a magnet. He's going to attract that money back. He has a different mindset. He has ways. He's going to work, start a product, and that money, that poor man, that person with the poverty mindset, before they know it will be back in the same hands. So if all we're saying is this, for me, that I'm really trying to put across, that at the end of the day, if you take overtax and all this, for instance, even overtaxing the rich people, at the end of the day, they know and they have exemptions that they will still find ways not to legally pay tax. Tax avoidance. They'll find ways. We had situations where they're saying, every business, like in America, every business, you need to increase people from $10 an hour to $15 an hour. You know what the rich people that had businesses did? They let people go. They put them on part-time. Who lost? At the end of the day, the average person lost. The government didn't win, because what they did, if you had 12 employees that you're paying $10 an hour, $12 an hour, or $8 an hour, and you have those and you all have a job, or all have a little bit of life going for themselves, and the government says, oh, no, you have to pay everybody 15. You know what I do? I cut the number in half. And say, you know what? I'll pay 15 to 8 people. And at the end of the day, what happens to the 7? They have no job. Who lost? Me? I didn't lose. They lost. And they still do the same work in many ways.
Yeah.
So the thing is, this is taking from the rich to give to the poor is a very ungodly principle. And people that think like that, I don't care if they're president or they are what kind of leader, they have a poverty mindset. Now, let me talk about the politicians. Politicians are the same people. They were cut from the same cloth all over the world. Politicians in India, politicians in Uganda, politicians in America. I'm telling you, they're all from. Let me give you, write it down. Let me give you a definition of what politician means. The word politician means. If you're a student like me, you know very well the word politics comes from two words. One word is poly, P-O-L-Y. The other word is ticks. Ticks. In Uganda, how do you say ticks?
Enkukunyi. Enkwa.
Okay, so politics. This is my definition. And I like it. And I'll say it anywhere and anytime. Politics means, poly means many. Ticks means ticks. Okay? So politics means enkwanchi.
Enyingi.
That's your definition of politicians. They're blood-sucking insects or whatever you want to call them.
Banuna bununyi.
You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why they kununa, they're on the receiving end, is a poverty mindset.
They're not delivering services.
Yes, they're not delivering. And this is not Uganda or India. It's all over the world. In America too. Like I said, they have the same parent. Very few are really, really super godly people that stand up for these things. But the point I'm saying, the level of corruption that you see, it just tells you that people, one thing I really believe, and maybe I'm going to end with this. One thing I really believe, you should never allow a poor person become a leader. Never allow a poor person to kukwata entebe.
Tokkiriza muntu mwavu okuba mu buyinza.
I'm telling you, because what they will do, they will try to collect wealth.
Aye teweerabira nti baakugambye obwavu bwe twogerako edina essomo baliyita endowooza y'ekyavu.
Never allow a poor person, because what they're going to do, they're going to bring destruction. Remember this, we said very well, the destruction of the poor is what? Poverty. So when they get into a position of leadership, they're going to use it for their own selfish reasons.
Decisions and
it's going to be selfish. They're going to be decisions from a poverty what?
Mindset.
That's why the best leaders you're going to find, usually the people that have some things going for themselves. Trump, for instance, you can say all you want. He didn't come to become president to make money. He's the only president that I know that came in rich and left with a lot of money lost. Every other person came in broke. And they left with wealth. You get the point? But when you look at the success that the man got coming in as a rich person, was 10 times better than almost 3-4 presidents before him in 4 years. You know why? What was he going to take? Clinton, when the first time they left the White House, they stole things. It was all over the place. They took things from the White House. Trump never wanted even to move in because his house was almost better than the White House.
Yeah.
You get the point? So that person will not come to take from you. That person will come to give to you. Because he has seen it. Yes. What are you going to show him, right? He's seen it. He's been there. But you put in a person, they will. And this is the problem we have. I'm saying all these things to say is the poverty mindset is one of the biggest problems we are dealing with across the globe. Not just in our nations in Africa, but across the globe. And I'm telling you, we as the believers, we need to become champions in the area of changing the way we think and making sure that we get rid of this mindset, and then we shall see things begin to change, not only in our lives, but in our nations. By changing a leader, doing this and all that is not what's going to bring prosperity. They can give you a better leader. If your mindset's still the same, you'll be broke and busted. You stay poor.
Yeah.
So the effort for me is not on the government. For me, the effort is on the individual. The word of God is not telling us to look to government. No, it's telling us to look to God and we will prosper. Government is not the one that gives us the power to make wealth. Government is not what blesses the work of our hands. It is God, Deuteronomy 8:18, amen, that blesses us and gives us the power to make wealth. So government, no government, you can make wealth. And I said before, just because you're in the desert, don't tell me I'm in a desert as well. Just because you're in Egypt, don't convince me that I'm in Egypt too. I am in the promised land.
Yes.
And I'm saying these things again, ladies and gentlemen, because we want to add value to your life. And I hope, as we come to the conclusion of this whole teaching of the poverty mindset, that you'll understand that this is designed to help you this year, purpose in your heart. Man, just to go to another level, not think poor. Take some steps. Do some of these things we told you. It's been very practical. We had a lot of conversation with these guys talking about these things because this is an area that needs to be talked about. Yeah. Why are we doing it? Because we want to help you. We want to add value to your life. And I really believe, guys, that we have helped our listeners. Yeah. We have truly, truly added value to them. Things we've said to help them. You know, we've been selfless. Isaac has told you his journey. You know, selfless. Why? Because we believe this is meant to change and help you.
Yeah.
Amen.
Wow. Banange omuliza waffe wenna nzikiriza nti oweereddwa nnyo omukisa mu ssomo lino era gwenna ng'ogaagala osobola okuba ng'okuba ku namba y'essimu eyo ojja kuba nga ogafuna gonna amasomo ga mirundi esatu. Ate tujja n'okusukka wano olw'obudde nsigadde ndi Senfuka Isaac,
David Male
and Rich Kanyali.
Enoch Shalom Kauma.
You are blessed.
Man, before I came to Charis, I was so broken.
I dealt a lot with anxiety and depression. I didn't really realize I could have an actual relationship with God.
When I came here, I started to see God like, you know, he just wants to have a relationship with me. It totally transformed the way I look at God.
God longs to have fellowship with you.
This is where faith comes from. It's not just head knowledge, Bible school knowledge, it's revelation knowledge that changes you.
Just been set free from a lot of the bondage I was in.
I haven't been depressed in so long.
Pretty awesome having that just weight lifted and putting on Jesus' yoke.
You come here and you meet God personally, and then he gives you a whole new direction.
This is a time, this is a season of your life that God's wanting to show you who you really are and what he's wanting to do in your life.
If you have a desire for Bible college, God's the one that put it there.
If you're considering coming to Charis, I just want to say it's going to be one of the best decisions you've made in your life.
It's a good story, but it doesn't really exist. He doesn't exist. He was God.
They would say I believe in myself.
The people would give me a blank stare and I'd be like, have you ever heard this? And they say no.
The ministry of Andrew Womack and Charis Bible College provides students with the opportunity to share God's love with the world.
We went out on the streets of Cologne in Berlin, in Germany. We presented dramas and danced on the streets to draw in the people.
They see this joy inside of us, and that's what draws them to us.
After the skit was done, we'd just run out and we'd start talking. We'd just invade their lifestyle and just start talking to them about Jesus.
Charis Bible College. Discover your destiny. Prepare to live it.
Ng'oyagala okumanya ebisingawo ku masomo gaffe gano oba ku ministry, osobola okuba ku namba yaffe ey'essimu ey'abawuliriza baffe ng'eno eri ne ku WhatsApp group era nga osobola okuweereza SMS oba n'okuba nga ogamba nti mungatteko ku WhatsApp group y'abawuliriza oba ng'obuuza ekibuuzo kyonna. Ennamba y'essimu eno eri 0706 06 93 5. Ngambye eri 0706 06 93 5. That is 0706 06 93 15. Ojja kuba oyambibwa, ojja kuba oyungibwa ku group y'abawuliriza baffe. You are blessed.